Hey guys, welcome. I'm Ali Mona, and this is a continuing education class, Essential Emotions. If you have not had a basics class yet, you probably want to do that. This is part of a continuing ed series where we teach our team members and people globally how to use the oils that they have or how to attack different sort of topics using oils. So obviously this is an emotions class. I want to tell you a little bit more about me. If you don't know me and my story with oils, I think it's hilarious that I'm teaching on emotions because this was the one topic that I did not believe that oils could actually touch. So it's kind of ironic. And I was absolutely wrong. So my biggest hang up with oils was, I'd look at a bottle and I'd be like, come on, this stuff can affect like what's going on up here and in my heart and in the kind of like my gut center. And sure enough, they can. And my first kind of aha moment with oils was them keeping me out of postpartum. With my first two daughters, my postpartum depression was getting worse and worse. And I knew I wanted more children, but I just was not able and willing mentally to go back to that space. So my friend Victoria introduced me to oils and she was like, I promise you, they work with emotions. And sure enough, my favorite was Motivate. We're going to talk about Motivate today a little bit. And I had bottles of Motivate everywhere. By my bed, at my office, in my bag, in my pocket. And anytime I felt a little dip, I would bring out my Motivate. Of course, I'm out of it now. Of course, the day I'm teaching the class, I'm on Motivate. But this is peace. I just put a little bit of peace over my heart before I started teaching. And sure enough, I didn't dip. Not only did I not dip, it was like one of the most tumultuous times in our family life for multiple reasons. But because I was able to like stay steady, I was like, all right, I'm all in. I'm all in. Tell me what else oils can do. So I'm really excited about this topic. I'm recording here in Shanghai, China, if you don't know me. In life as an expat, I think life in general, but life as an expat, especially here in the mainland, can be very challenging. You throw in cultural adjustment or language adjustment or trying to battle the pollution in your home, trying to keep your family healthy. It can be super stressful. So I love using oils for emotions, and I'm really jazzed about this class. What we're going to do, the goal of using oils in your life is to get more balance. So we're going to talk about emotions, our senses, our subconscious, and mood management all with oils. And so I've got all my little oils over here. If you're learning and you have some of the mood management kit, Citrus Bliss, Lavender Peace, Serenity, or Balance, or any of the emotional aromatherapy kit, the Motivate, Cheer, any of those, pull those out so that you can experience them as you're learning. So what are we going to cover? We're going to cover the bit of the science behind the emotions in the essential oils. That was really important to me too. I was like, why does this work? So I love the science behind the oils. We're going to look at tools and habits for healthy body chemistry, and then practical emotional wellness steps that we can take to help regain some of the balance in our lives. So when we talk about wellness, I am a huge wellness advocate, not just for doTERRA, but in my other business. I mean, we spend the vast majority of our time advocating for holistic wellness. And holistic wellness is, I was going to say three-pronged. It doesn't look like a prong, but it really is the triangle of body, mind, and spirit. And when we take time to intentionally nourish each one of these areas, that's when we feel well. And we know this, right? So let's look at body and mind, because those are kind of the two that people focus on the most. If I'm working out, my body might feel good, but if I fuel my body then with trashy food, then I don't know about you, but I feel it. Like I feel sluggish, I feel tired, I don't feel optimal. For me, as a believer, I'm a very strong believer that there is a God out there that loves me and loves you. The spirit part of me, I know when I'm not tapping into that, I feel it in my body and my mind. Again, for me, emotions are really specific, but for me, I just feel sluggish. I feel disconnected. When any one of these parts for me is kind of off, my go-to mechanism is I'm just going to go take a nap. I just kind of shut down. So it's very important that we take time to nourish all three parts of ourselves, and no matter what form that takes for you. And we're going to learn about how oils can support that today. So our body is made up of intelligent cells that are actually wired to restore our health. So we never say that oils cure or treat any sort of illness. But we do know that when we support our body with things that it needs, our body is brilliant and it takes care of itself and restores us to health. Emotions are simply information. They're these information carrying molecules that actually work with cell receptors, and they actually react with them. They get into the cells and they impact cell function and behavior. So we're tempted to say, emotions are all in our head, but they're really not. They're processed throughout the entire body. And if you've done any work with yourself, any sort of self-work, you've probably heard of the three brains. Science reveals that there are actually three brains, neural processing functions in the mind, the heart, and the body. I am super into the Enneagram, Enneagram. I don't know if any of you have heard of it, but we talk about there are people who are more processing of the mind. There are people who process in the heart, and there are people who process in the gut as a default, but really, or maybe as a strength. Like that's where kind of we live. That's our space where we live, our comfortable space. But really, we can look at how they all interact together. So the mind is logic and intellect. This is where subconscious mind directs over 90% of our behavior. And sometimes we get into ruts, especially with our emotional health. And there's also the heart. This is where kind of we sit in the intuition space. There are more neural pathways that run from the heart to the brain than from the brain to the heart. Isn't that fascinating? So I'm a heart person, like I said. So when I feel emotion, I'm like, oh, I'm one of the people that's like, stab me in the heart. My husband, he sits in the mind realm. So for him, that analogy doesn't work. He kind of sits in his head. Then there's gut people, and gut is huge. Gut health and our emotional health and how we present to the world, gut is huge. 90% of the body's serotonin involved in mood management is processed in the gut. So if we have kind of gut problems, if we have an unbalanced level of the good and bad bacteria, it can definitely affect our moods. And we're going to learn what we can do to help that. The three brains are in constant communication, constant communication. So we need to make sure that each one of them is remaining healthy. They instinctively process every life experience, and instinctively is a big word. One of the things that I'm huge on, and I just went through 2 courses of Brene Brown's work. If you're not familiar with Brene Brown, you can go on TED Talk and look up her vulnerability TED Talk. She has she has lots of writing. She's brilliant, but the 2 that I went through are Daring Way and Rising Strong. And the very first thing in Rising Strong, basically it's when you've been vulnerable and you've fallen flat on your face, how do you get up? The first bit is recognizing that you've fallen flat on your face. And so the question is, are you driving or are your emotions driving? And that's pulling our subconscious behavior to our conscious. And once we are aware of what we're doing, then we can battle it. So what do? We process, right? This is all instinctual. So sometimes we don't even think we're doing it unless we can stop and reckon with our emotions. So something bad happens, and what do we think? Our head goes, oh, I gotta figure this out. This is the logic bit, right? The emotional center is like, oh, I feel so overwhelmed. I can't do this anymore. And our gut says, uh-oh, I'm totally stuck. So all 3 of those are happening at the same time. So then we react. Our head is overwhelmed. Oh, I have a headache. I'm feeling tension in my neck. My heart, oh, do I do this? Do I do that? We have these conflicting feelings or emotions. And then, of course, upset stomach. This happens all the time. You see it in kids at school. They don't want to go to school and they say, oh, I have a stomach ache. Well, might they have a stomach ache because there's anxiety about going to school because something that's happening? Maybe, right? Before a big presentation or before a big life event, if you start to feel a little bit of upset stomach or unsettled stomach, that's probably normal. These are these 3 brains reacting in your life. So I love this question. What are the triggers in your life that tell you that you're reacting, that you're in a subconscious reactive state? I'll tell you mine. When I am standing in front of my pantry, shoving any sort of food in my mouth that I can get, I have been triggered in some way. Or I'm sitting at my computer. I know I have 4,000 things to do, but I'm just staring at the screen, or I'm browsing through WeChat, or I'm browsing through Facebook, not getting anything done. I totally know that I'm feeling overwhelmed. But that took a lot of work to figure out what my triggers are. So my first challenge to you is to figure out when you are so overwhelmed or when your emotions, something triggered you, right? Maybe you're at work and your boss or your colleague gave you a funny look and you go back to your office and you're like, what was that all about? And then you spend the next half hour circling, spiraling, telling stories about, well, maybe they're mad about this, or did I do that? Maybe I didn't do that up to par. Everyone's story is going to be different, but I just challenge you to figure out when you are in reaction mode. And a lot of it is inaction. Some of us go into inaction mode. Some of us go into overaction mode so that we stuff our emotions. Again, everybody's different. And emotions take a lot of self-work. You have to be very willing to be vulnerable with yourself and with people who love you. Because I guarantee you, if you ask somebody who loves you kind of what your triggers are that tell you that you're reacting to something, some people can notice even better than we can. And then our beliefs. Our beliefs are kind of in the gut space. They show up in our life and they create our realities. I'm not good enough. Man, that's a belief that a lot of people hold. Or another belief could be, gosh, there's so many. I'm right, they're wrong. I'm only worthy when I'm helping somebody. I'm not loved for who I am. I'm loved for what I do. The world is a space of fear, and I have to control my environment so that nothing bad happens. Pain is bad, and therefore I avoid pain at all costs. Gosh, they can go on and on and on. And I mentioned before, I've done a lot of self-work, and there was a time in my life when I went through professional counseling because I just realized that there was stuff in me that I could not work through on my own. So I went through a couple months with a fantastic counselor who just helped me work through some of this stuff. And what came out of that was that I speak to myself, my self-talk, my belief system before was incredibly limiting. And what triggered me to come out of that was my therapist, my counselor, asked me this question. Would you speak? Actually, I had $2 at the time. I now have $4. But what she said specifically was, would you speak to your daughter like you speak to yourself? And my reaction was, absolutely not. That would be so abusive. And then I was like, oh, it was such an aha moment of why do we allow ourselves to abuse ourselves? Maybe you don't. Maybe you in your self-belief, your beliefs and your affirmations for yourself, you've done some work in this area and you're A-okay in this. That's fantastic. I was not okay. There were patterns that I had learned as a child. And if you ask this question, would you speak to your partner or your children like you speak to yourself, and you have that sort of gut reaction, then I would write out, I have my affirmations over there on my office. I have a little board over there by my desk, and my affirmations of who I am and what I want out of this life. And I read them, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 times a day. And a lot of them are actually memorized so that when a self-limiting belief comes up, I can pull that from my brain and reaffirm my beliefs of myself. Okay, great question. What does this have to do with oils, right? They actually react and interact chemically with our emotions, with these 3 centers. And that's good news because for somebody who is, I'm kind of in the thick of, which is like, I think it's funny that I'm teaching this right now because I'm so in the thick of emotional self-work right now. To have a tool on hand that can help me as I'm processing through, it's huge. It's huge. And it's so comforting to me that I have something that's going to work as I'm going through this. They promote emotional purification. So detox, emotional detox is a big deal. And they anchor in healthy biochemistry. So they actually bring us back into homeostasis with our emotions as well. This is fascinating. One drop has 40 million trillion molecules. I don't even know how to write that. 40 million trillion. I don't even know how to write that. But I do know that they are the chemical compounds. They are serving every cell in our body in a matter of minutes. And if you've not seen the study with balance, I suggest that you look it up. Balance is called the grounding blend. It's gorgeous. My husband uses it as a cologne. It's very manly, very masculine, very, it's Howood, I think. Maybe it's spruce. I can't remember exactly. But again, it's in English. Spruce and Howood. Look at that. Frankincense, blue tansy, blue chamomile. It's just a really nice blend. It's used for kind of, it's a depressant in a good way. So it's for stress and anxiety. There's a study with this being put on the bottom of someone's foot and then it was in the bloodstream and fully affecting the cells in 30 seconds. So I suggest that you look that up. They support cell receptors, they promote healthy cell function, and they maintain the cell's natural state. So if you think back to how we're supposed to be, we're not supposed to be super, I'm looking out my window at the pollution of the day, and I'm like, So I use these because our body is getting oxidative stress as well that we're not even necessarily processing. It's actually just kind of going into our bodies and affecting our cells. So I use them to combat the effects of pollution as well, oxidative stress. How do we use them? Aromatically is the fastest way to affect our moods. You can look up the aromatic science behind the limbic system if you want more information, but basically what's happening is, let's see, citrus bliss, uplifting. So a drop or two of citrus bliss. It's passing through the cell membrane in the back of our nose, and it's going actually into the limbic system. And the limbic system is responsible for many things, but two main things are mood management and memory creation. And they have huge implications. So mood management, it's very hard to smell something citrusy and maintain a bad mood. That's because our limbic system is working. You know, when you like peel open an orange and you're like, oh, right? Or natural lemon, not like the cleaning fake lemon, but like natural lemon. That's why I love when I clean with my lemon oil. I'm like, I love it. Because it really is uplifting. So, and then memory creation. So there's huge studies behind or implications behind studying and using oils to help retain memory. And think about it. You might walk into a restaurant and be like, oh my gosh, that so reminds me of my grandma's kitchen or my mom cooking this. It's because the memory and the smell have such a strong chemical bond. Let me go back to aromatic. So this is what we call a hand diffuser, right? There are not chemical diffusers, like machine diffusers, like the diffuser, the pedal diffuser. I've got one running in my office all the time. What I like to do is I'll start it, then hop in the shower. I work from home. So I'll start it in the office, shut the door, hop in the shower, get ready. And then when I walk back into my office and I have Motivate, or when I don't have Motivate, I'll do a couple drops of peppermint and a couple drops of orange in the diffuser. And I just walk in, I'm like, oh, I'm so ready to start the day. That I need a little bit of kick in the morning. At night, as I'm winding down, I will put on my lavender piece or my balance to start to bring it down. I'll diffuse, if my kids are particularly like crazy at the end of the night, I'll diffuse some of the de-stressing oils at night. And again, aromatically, it's going into the limbic system and affecting the rest of the body. So that's the first way. Peppermint, supporting mental focus, and clearing mental fog. If you work or you are alive, which is everybody, you need to keep some peppermint by you. For like that 2 o'clock when you start to dip, put a little bit in your hand, couple nice deep breaths. You will feel it clearing out your sinuses. You'll feel it down the back of your throat. Rub a little bit on the back of your neck. It'll kind of feel like an ice pack. It'll keep you awake. And it's my go-to now. I don't have to pick up a cup of coffee at 2 o'clock just to get through the rest of the day. Peppermint does the trick for me. CPTG, just as a recap, guys, you should know this by now because this is a continuing ed, but what makes doTERRA different is it's CPTG, Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade trademark. What it means is that we are above organic, above therapeutic grade, whatever, based on third-party testing. So there is no regulatory body over oils, which is why we do third-party testing. And it's really determines its chemistry, potency, and efficiency. If you have not yet gone to source2u.com, you can put in the batch number on the bottom of the bottle and check out the CPTG test results for this batch of oil. It's important because we use them in and on the bodies of ourselves and our families. And so we want to make sure that what we're putting them, what we're giving to our families for natural health care is actually what it says it is. So oils are dynamic. They support the body, of course, physically, emotionally. But first, and very importantly, we have to do the work to identify the actual emotion. So this is the processing part. Then we have to figure out when we're actually reacting. For me, I don't know, maybe this is just me. But when I'm stressed, I literally will subconsciously do this. I'll get up, I'll go to my pantry and I'll start eating things. That's like totally my go-to. For some people, it's going to be browsing something they shouldn't, or stepping outside to have a smoke because they're coping. These are coping mechanisms. And it's a very subconscious process. Literally, I'll be like, what am I doing? What am I doing as I stand there? Or I'm walking around the house and I'm like, what was I doing again? That is all the subconscious acting. And then identifying the beliefs that you're allowing in. So I know emotionally when I'm feeling like I'm spiraling down, I'll get out a notebook and I'll start to make a truth and lie list. So I do the lies first, everything that I'm feeling. I'm not good enough. They don't like me. Why am I, this isn't even worth my time, whatever it is. And then I will attack it with a truth. I am good enough. Actually, I'm really good at XYZ. They don't like me. How do I know that? Nobody said they didn't like me. This is a lie. This isn't worth my time. If I wasn't doing this, what else would I be doing? This, of course, is worth my time. Then you read the truth list and you feel a heck of a lot better. So truth and lie list, we have to do the actual work. And what's fascinating is most people, if you've not done emotional work before in your life, have a really hard time identifying the emotion. So I want to read you some of these emotions. This is coming from this book. Many of you have this book. You can get it on Amazon in the US, but some really interesting emotions. Agitated, alone, apathetic, apprehensive, avoiding, blocked, burdened, confused, congested, cowardly, degraded. How many times have you said, I just feel degraded? Most of the time we're like, man, I'm so mad, right? We use these really general descriptions of emotions, but degraded is a really powerful term. And it tells you to use factually when you're feeling degraded. Denied, depressed, disconnected, divided, dominated, doubtful, drained, erratic, right? You say, oh, I'm so stressed out. Are you feeling erratic? Because erratic and stressed are two different things. Sometimes I feel erratic. Faint, frustrated, hampered, hindered, inadequate, inundated. That kind of goes with erratic, doesn't it? So much stuff coming at you. Isolated, limited. I hate feeling limited. Mindless, neglected, obsessed, obstinate, obstructed. How many of our children are obstinate? Sometimes mine. Overzealous, repressed, self-centered, separated. Sometimes you just feel, do you feel lonely or do you feel separated? Those are two distinct emotions. And if you really get down to the center of it, then you can even have a more specific tool when you want to attack them with oils. Uncommitted, ungrounded, unheard. Fascinating. I don't just feel alone. I feel unheard. Lavender, when you feel unheard. Uninspired. Sometimes you might feel tired or lifeless, but are you uninspired? You need a little bit of inspiration. Unsure, unyielding, upset, weary, and wounded. Weary and tired are two different things. Weary has an emotional component, right? Like, gosh, I just feel so weary, mind, body, and soul. Weary. So do a bit of work. You'll only be better for it. Identify the emotion. Then, once we have the emotion identified, what do we do with the oils? I feel like I get this question a lot, topically. So we always want to put the oil on our body. We want to apply to the bottoms of our feet or the spine to affect all the cells, the blood, and the tissues throughout the body. Then we also want to massage in specific areas for more local support. So if you're a heart person, or if you're feeling hurt in your heart, you can apply over your heart area, inside of wrists, and back here. So I like to think about it as like the perfume, right? You're going to put a little like spray here. That's like the perfume application. For head, right? If you're feeling a little bit of tension, if you're feeling a little stress in your head, you want to put on the back of your neck, across the forearms, forehead, or the bottoms of your feet. And then some essential oils actually pass through the blood-brain barrier. So I know, for example, in Tune, you want to put right here, when I'm feeling alert, or if when I want to feel alert or have a bit of a headache, I'll put some past tense, some deep blue, or some just straight old peppermint on my forehead and the back of the neck. And then for topical application, when you're feeling like your gut center is a little off, you want to put it right over the stomach area and on the bottoms of your feet. So you can put emotional oils there. I also recommend that you put Digest-Zen. If you don't have that blend, you can use fennel or cardamom, ginger. You want to dilute those in some oil, some coconut oil, but you can put that directly over your belly. So topical application is huge when it comes to emotions. But every time you put something topically on, you definitely want to smell it as well. You want to get that limbic system involved. For the oils that are labeled for dietary use, you can put them internally, under the tongue, in water, or in a gel cap, and they can support your overall health. For gut health, I love Digestin. 1 drop right under the tongue. I also do frankincense, 2 drops, 2 times a day, right under the tongue. Smart and Sassy is awesome for energy. Slim and Sassy if you're out of the China market. A couple drops in water throughout the day, or in a gel cap if you don't love the taste of it. In markets outside of China, there's also this incredible pack of vitamins called the Lifelong Vitality Pack. It is daily support. So we want to get everything going up into our brains that we can. And it is really, it enhances our health on a cellular level. If you're in China, check out the new trio of the Terra Sticks, AO, PB, and DX. I am loving them. And they have a detox component specifically formulated for the China market. These also, we have Zendocrine and lemon here in China. Those other 3 we don't, but this is for cleansing and restoring gut health. If gut is a challenge for you and you're in the China market, definitely go with lemon, Zendocrine, Digest Zen, maybe even some ginger, and also pick up one of those trios of the Terra Sticks, especially the PB. That's the probiotic. It's an incredible product. When we get our stomach sorted, it is scientifically linked to an enhanced mood. So we definitely need to make sure that our gut is up to par. So where do I begin? I love doTERRA's blends. I'm not a scientist. I'm an avid oil junkie. Okay, I'm a user. Junkie sounds really bad, but I love that they take the guesswork out for us. So on the left there, those 6 oils are the mood emotional aromatherapy kit. So all of these are meant for the diffuser, or meant for topical or on our body as a hand diffuser. And they're just easy, right? When you feel, I'll flick here. I don't even know if you guys can see this. You should be able to. But when you're feeling apathetic or discouraged, insecure, gloomy, pick up your motivate. Gloomy, distressed, somber, disinterested, pick up your cheer. Disinterested, bored, discontent, bitter, pick up your passion, right? Bitter, angry, ashamed, sad, forgive. Sad, grieving, hurt, and worried, console. Worried, fearful, anxious, and insecure, peace. So basically, what you need is the oil that you pick up. So, of course, if I'm somber, I need some cheer. I need some happiness. So I'm going to pick up my cheer. If I'm feeling discouraged, I need some motivation. I'm going to pick up my motivate. If I'm feeling fearful, I'm going to pick up peace. Okay? Then we're going to use them in the ways that we just described in the previous slide. So a lot of these emotions, again, I'm a heart person. So I'm going to be putting them over my heart and on like perfume, and then a little bit on the bottoms of my feet as well. You could put some on the back of your neck. Again, it's not going to hurt, especially if you're a head person. And again, I just love that they make it easy. They make it easy. During my postpartum time, there was some other things going on with the family, but I kept peace in my shower. And before I stepped in the shower, I would just put a little bit of peace right on my chest. And then in the shower and in the steam, it just felt really peaceful. And I kind of run in the anxious, fearful, worried state and a lot. So we go through a lot of peace, a lot of motivate, a lot of passion, a lot of consult. Okay, we go through a lot of them. There's another one in China called Hope, and Hope is a special oil because it's connected with a charity called OUR, Operation Underground Railroad. And Hope is just gorgeous. It's a beautiful oil. So when I'm feeling like a little bit of despair, which does come, even though I try to stay very positive, I get a little bit of despair every once in a while, and I pick up my Hope. I love it. The other one that the China market has, and I don't believe the other markets do, is the kit on the right. It's called the Mood Management Kit. So it has 3 oils. I recommend this kit in particular all the time. It handles sleep challenges, snoring, stress, anxiety, depression, any of those. Those 3 oils are unbelievable. And again, I like the blends because you don't have to make them. All you have to do is open them and use them, and they work. So it's also, that kit on the right side is 50 points and I think 425 RMB. So it's an incredibly discounted kit. And again, I end up working with a lot of those kits for people, because inevitably, if you ask if someone's stressed, or if they feel a little stressed, or if their spouse is stressed, the kids are stressed, the answer is going to be yes, vast majority of the time. So I really enjoy that mood management kit here. Okay, so what do? We need to, let me back up. If you want a more balanced life, you don't need to do anything. Let's be honest. If you're seeking a more balanced life, if you recognize that maybe you're not 100% in tune with how you're actually feeling, maybe you haven't done the work to realize your triggers and to stop the kind of downward spiral from there. If you've not done the work to identify the habits that hinder you, then here's some kind of check boxes that can help you along the process. For a healthy mood lifestyle, for a healthy mind, we really need to start on healthy thought patterns. That lies and truth list is really positive and really helpful. We need to choose to feel good about myself, yourself, and others around us. Giving people the benefit of the doubt is huge. It was huge in my marriage. Ron would be 15 minutes home late from work and I couldn't get a hold of him. And so you start to make stories. We all tell stories. So the story could be positive or it could be negative. And so believing the benefit, or giving people the benefit of the doubt, is very positive in terms of relationship building. And then of course we want to eat well. So we want to nourish our brains with good fats and minerals. If you have access to those supplements, those are an incredible start. For a healthy heart, trusting ourselves, and that spiritual element to us, having trust in something other than yourself is a really positive thing. So seek that out. If you're feeling like trust, you battle with trust. I freely give and receive love. The more I learn about this, love is such a bigger topic. We could do an entire series on just love in and of itself. But giving and receiving love is a harder thing for more people than you might think. So if this is something that's a challenge for you, make this one of your affirmations. I freely give and I freely receive love. And then I often feel peaceful inside and I rest well. Resting is really important for health in all 3 of these actually. But you could start to begin adding these to your affirmations so that you can help support your healthy mind. And then your healthy gut. I digest and process food well. I read somewhere that every mouthful of food that goes into your mouth, you should be chewing 40 times. That good digestion starts with the chewing process. And it makes a lot of sense, right? There's micronutrients in our food that need to be released as we chew. And if you're not chewing well, then when we get into the stomach, our bodies can't break down chunks of chicken that haven't been chewed properly. So chewing 40 times, try that. It is very challenging. But I do find that it actually helps, and you get fuller, longer, or faster. So you end up not having to eat as much, which is also good for your gut. I nourish my digestive system with good nutrition and enzymes. Again, go for those supplements if you have access to them. If you're in China, start with the trio of the Terra sticks. And my body is healthy and feels good. When you start to tell yourself and remind yourself of these things day in and day out, you'll be triggered when you're off. You'll feel it when you're doing something that is against your new healthy lifestyle. Another question that's huge is, what do you need to weed out of your life in order to attain more balance? Negative thoughts, most likely, limiting thoughts, relationships, substances. Substances could be drugs and alcohol. It could also be an addiction to a soda, or an addiction to cigarettes, or an addiction to sugar, an addiction to coffee. That would be mine. Negative relationships, people who don't make you feel good about yourself or who influence you in bad ways. This is a hard question, because if you really take a step forward in the right direction to a more balanced life for yourself, sometimes people need to be left behind. And that can be really challenging. So be gentle with yourself as you go through this list, but really have a very candid list of the things that you might need to weed out. And then the next question, of course, is what do I want to plant? What do I want to grow in my life? We are the sum of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So we want to choose those relationships really well. We want to be putting more beliefs, right? We have to start here with our beliefs, our mind, our relationships. That's our heart center. And supplements. What are we supporting our gut with in order to fuel a more balanced, healthy lifestyle? And then how will I nourish these seeds? It is a lifelong process. I feel like I'm just starting out on this journey of more self-awareness, fulfilling more habits, doing things more day in and day out so that they become habits, practices, patterns. I have there's an app on the phone. I think it's called Habit Maker. I forget. But anyway, you can write something and it'll pop up on your phone 3 to 5 times a day, 5 to 7 times a day to help you remind something. So mine is read your affirmation list. That's where I am. I'm really focusing on my mind because it's come to my attention recently that my mind is taking over a lot. And I don't like that because my mind doesn't speak nice things to myself a lot. So putting things in place where you're being accountable to the changes that you want to see in your life is a really important part of this process. This is just a fun quote. You fill a bucket drop by drop. You clear your mind thought by thought, and you heal yourself moment by moment. So this is staying mindful, staying present in the moment. I've been told many, many, many times that I probably need to start meditating. I don't think I'm there yet. Standing still is very hard for me, but I do know people who love just the being still and being connected with who they are and how they're feeling. I will get there. I will get there eventually. There's a lot of help out there. Molecules of Emotions, Aroma Heal, step-by-step techniques to support emotional healing with essential oils. I'm telling you, this is not new. This is not new age. This is scientifically backed information that we all have access to. You can buy these on Amazon. You can get them on Kindle, probably. So if you're really into this and interested, have a look at some of these incredible tools. That's it. Watching, learning, and growing. My challenge to you as you just took in this information is to do a brief inventory. Am I in tune with how I'm actually feeling, or am I using the blanket emotions of sad, angry, tired, bored, right? Those are kind of the 4 that we run to. Can you dig a little bit deeper into that? Once you've identified the emotion, is it forcing a reaction upon you? Do you know your triggers? If you don't know your behavioral triggers to being emotionally snagged, keep a journal for 1 week. Sure enough, I guarantee you, patterns will emerge. And then use the tools, learn the oils, get equipment in your hands. So these are tools. We need to have them. It does not help you at all to know that Serenity or Lavender Peace, they're the same oil, different names. It can help bring you down from anxiety if you don't have it on hand. One of my favorite experiences happened just about a month ago. I was in a very stressful week, and I laid down in bed one night. My husband was asleep, and I was overcome by waves of anxiety, complete panic attack. Couldn't breathe. That hasn't happened in a really long time, so I was kind of taken aback by it. So I just kind of mindly stumbled. This is a good subconscious behavior. I stumbled over to the living room where I have my big thing of oils, and I grabbed my lavender piece, and I was dousing it on my foot and putting it on. I probably put 10 drops of this oil on, and I laid back in bed, and I just closed my eyes. And sure enough, within 2 minutes time, I was right back down to normal. So that was probably 11 o'clock at night. I've been known in prior years to sit in anxiety attacks for days, if not weeks. And for something as simple and as natural as a doTERRA essential oil being able to literally walk me off the cliff in a matter of minutes, man, I'm so grateful. So I hope that you equip yourself with the tools that you need, not just for you, but also for your children if you have them, for your spouse, your partner if you have one. It's powerful. And again, we need to be whole here, and in our gut in order to fully experience life. So here's to you in a more balanced life. If you have questions, you can connect with me at Allie@limitlesslawwhy.com or connect with me offline who showed you the video. And again, thank you. Thank you for investing in yourself and for learning about this so that you can educate others and share the gift of essential oils as well. Until next time, take care.